On higher education, I passed a bill last session, but it wasn't funded, to create scholarships for math and science teachers. Less than, at least on the last data that I saw, less than 40% of our math teachers and science teachers in school have a degree in math and science. If we wonder why our students are struggling in those two areas, it may be because we have many teachers out of discipline teaching those courses. This legislation simply says, and this is the bill I passed last session, again it wasn't funded, it simply says if you agree to teach 8 years in Texas, 4 years where TEA sends you, it might be to the inner city, it might be to rural Texas, could be to the valley, it could be the panhandle, wherever we need a math and science teacher, you go there for 4 years, you can teach 4 years wherever else you'd like, and beginning in the 5th year we retire 25% of the loan, the 6th year 25, the 7th and 8th year, so that the scholarship is paid for. I'd like eventually to see that program grow to 1,000 more math and science teachers each year. Over 4 years, that would have a revolving number of 4,000 students in the program. We had a lot of testimony on this particular issue last session, and presidents and professors from our colleges said even a small incentive can get students to refocus their interest. Teaching is a noble profession. We have to instill in our young college students and our high school students that it's a great career to pursue. My wife was a long-time teacher. It is a noble profession, and we need to incentivize students where we need those students to be teaching. I want to fund more residency slots for medical students so that we don't lose the doctors that basically we have paid to educate. I recall testimony from last session was medical education is about $150,000 a year. We pay for all but about $17,000 of that. And then we don't have the residency slots where they can go train so they go out of state, and where they do their residency is likely where they end up living and practicing. We should not be spending our taxpayer dollars to educate doctors for other states. And so we need to increase the residency slots because there's a federal limit on some. Some medical schools and hospitals and businesses will pay for other slots, but we're going to fund additional slots. The goal is to be at a 1-to-1 ratio, so for every medical student you have in school, we have a 1-to-1 ratio plus a little bit for those slots. And let's talk about college tuition. Since we deregulated tuition over a decade ago, it simply has been a failure. Tuition has skyrocketed, and quickly middle-class families can't even afford to send their child to school. Too many students are graduating with too much debt. They get out of school, their debt's higher than they can even earn in their first job. We have to reduce the burden on families and students. Colleges and universities need to know that the cost of college tuition is of great concern to me, to many members in the Senate. We're going to address this issue, and they need to address this issue. We need to work as partners with them. But let's be very clear. The cost of college tuition must come down. An educated workforce is the key to the future of Texas, and the future of those individuals and the future of those families. Not only do you need a high school degree at minimum and something afterwards, either a work certificate or a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, but if we don't have an educated workforce for the future, then the future for Texas is bleak. And that's why I'm so passionate about education all the way from K through 16.